What up, random rockers? T the Man here. And as you can tell, we are talking about Tremonti's Dust. And yeah, you know, I don't remember having that much trouble digesting Cauterize the first listen. But for some reason, Dust, I did. Took the third listen, the headphones, looking at the lyric sheet to be able to fully understand, even to the extent where it actually made me change my opinion on a particular track I will talk about later. But yes, guys, Tremonti, the project of Mark Tremonti, known best for his works with Creed and Alter Bridge. I don't think I mentioned this in my Cauterize review, which is on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, and the Random Rough Cut, because I felt I didn't do enough justice for them at the time. I really into that album because I really enjoyed it. And for those who've seen my best of 2015 or favorites, I should really honestly say, I don't know why I just put it as best of, but check those out. And before I get more in depth into that, last week, their Fallujah, from a deathcore or progressive death metal type band, Fallujah, their third album, name escapes me. It's not the name, that's not the name of their album, but the name of the album itself escapes me. And I just don't, it's not usually my cup of tea, death metal in general, and most definitely not grindcore or black metal. No go. I am not a true cult metalhead. I also think it's pretty well the metal community's indie hipster. I should meant to say indie hipster of the metal community pretty much is what a true cult metalhead is, as far as I'm concerned. And they're a problem that needs to be called out. And is the reason why people who aren't into metal can't get into metal. And I've been trying to or at least find ways that can work. And in a way, Tremonti's music is, and hopefully another recommendation, Haken, I believe is how they pronounce their name. I think they're Norwegian, but they're a progressive metal, progressive rock act, more along the veins of, say, it's like their fourth album, and their style's more along the veins of what I hear is Dream Theater, but more on the avant-garde, which makes them sound, honestly, a lot more interesting. Yeah, it makes them seem they're weirder, but not by much. If you're like Lupros or certain particular avant-garde progressive metal that kind of veers into post-metal or stuff like that, I think. Though, I would say theirs is more like Dream Theater, but with a little bit more of a Zappa orient. Like, maybe even more Devin Townsend. Maybe. But I would even go as, or Buckethead. So most people like Buckethead, I think. But anyway, or at least they liked playing Soothsayer when Guitar Hero, back in the day when it came to Guitar Hero. Well, I sucked at it, but still, it was fun. If you feel me there, put your horns up in the comments below. And now that that's out of the way, now we can finally once again talk about Tremonti. All I Was a great debut. I've said it before in my Cauterize review, which I also found this fantastic. I mentioned all the albums I have reviewed, and I'll still hold up to it. I recently had to listen to, and for some reason, I recently had listened to the album I put second to it, which was Baroness's Purple, and it doesn't hold up as well anymore. I almost want to say the same thing for Between the Buried and Me's new record, but then again, I just got burnt out. Wasn't that I didn't hate those records? I think I just got burnt out, and this one I'm not really feeling all that burnt out. Still holds up, which is why it was so difficult for me when it came to Tremonti's Dust, guys. Like, don't, like, not to start with, though. First 5 tracks. Everything you loved about Cauterize, you get out of the first 5 tracks. Though, Once Dead it has, or at least I felt like it had some moment, unless I got that confused with Tore My Heart Out for some reason. It has very grindcore, unless I got that confused with The Cage as well. But grindcore kind of breakdowns and stuff. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not a grindcore guy. I'm not. Fuck that. But damn, sometimes the instrumentation, if used correctly, especially for a band that's mostly speed metal oriented like Tremonti, it works. It works, and they do some. I feel like some of the moments they feel like the rhythms in "Tore My Heart Out," I think, or "Catching Fire," or something, had some odd time polyrhythmic signatures, time signature polyrhythms or something. I think is what I meant to say. It just didn't work as well, and it's weird. I didn't care for that, and it took away, but it didn't. But it was split second, and then went back and fixed itself once I found a chance to listen to it again properly. Because by the time I got to the near end of the track, I felt like maybe on my car ride home, an hour-long drive, I must have blocked out somewhere from it, like almost for some odd reason, like I just couldn't handle it anymore. After how disappointed I was, it's like okay, and then it just didn't keep me going. And I listened to it headphones, clear head, and yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm actually, it took that for me to respect this album, but some tracks I used to like Rising Storm, I just don't care for anymore. The heaviness, it worked, it did something at the time in my car stereo, but when headphones, it just didn't work out as well. I don't know what it was, but regardless, My Last Mistake's a great track itself. Track itself, The Cage is actually pretty good too. I mean, but Once Dead's not bad, but it's the title track, the lead single for this album, is where it's at, man. It's fantastic. It's still fantastic. Even though I'm stunned, I've listened to it too much to the point where I may have burnt myself out on it a little bit, but it's still refreshing to know and hear it. It's still, the riffs are chilling. Drop B tuning. He uses, Tremonti does use it. It's a second album. This album would be the second. It would be a companion piece, of course, to Cauterize, and it was from the same set, within the same sessions. Dust was actually originally planned to be on this album, and he liked it that much, but he realized he wanted to give all the tracks that were on Cauterize some far better breathing room. And after hearing this, I understand why, and why some of the tracks that really he talked about the most were the highlights on this record, and the ones that he never bothered to talk about were the ones that, except for Unable to See, though, I don't know if that was a highlight he mentioned or not before this album ever came out, that he was promoting Cauterize at the time. Which I'm hoping it is, because it is a nice, softer track, and I think it's a little bit better. I find it a little bit better than Providence as far as a closing track, so I'll give him props. It's a nice send-off. It's a nice send-off, as opposed to a slightly grimmer, uneasy send-off. You know. And that's kind of what tracks, of course, Dust, dude. Cut Through the Fetters, which is shackles, which is another term for shackles. It's sort of I guess more in a spiritual or mental sense, I guess, of this situation of a friendship gone awry, I guess. And I think Betray Me follows that up a little bit, in a way, after all the feelings of despair and sort of melancholic feel to this track, especially from the way the song starts off with these riffs and goes through within the verses. Cut through the feathers, reach the end, only to fight yourself again. Who would believe that now you're done? You carried the weight of every one. After all the time we spent rewriting the rules that now we bend, the whole damn thing has turned to dust. You left us alone, defeated us. Leading up to the chorus after the pre-chorus riffs, but the chorus riffs are nice too. So, and he really does bring a lot of feel into this track, actually, and you notice it, and you can kind of notice it at times. Why did you head out? Did you lack the love? Hide from our eyes now, the reflection of. And of course, the second verse, also just as badass as the first. Once fell behind to carry me, you know it was never meant to be. Bled for the right to see it through. Now is the time to carry you. Why were we afraid to go? We asked for the truth and now we know. The whole damn thing has turned to dust. The ashes you left to bury us. Fucking poetic as fuck in like the best way possible. Few bands can do that. Thrice is one of the few. Fragile thing known from far from everyone. Awakening found strength, but now it's gone. Led astray, force-fed and beaten down, tossed away, held down forever now. How could you betray me? Remember hope, remember faith, remember trust. Defiant, controlling. Another day, a new excuse, it's not enough. Reconcile, rebuild, begin to see the only hope, the only thing that guided me, searching for one shred of dignity, holding close those few and far between. Before, of course, and this is the verse, the chorus, the verse, and betray me. Tear my heart out, so not bad. Catching fire, the parts that I did like, I don't care for it as much. It just doesn't hit me nearly as hard as it did with the teaser. Whereas with the cage, what they used for the cage for the teaser made me not care for this track up until I heard the opening riffs for this track. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's actually fucking good. Fuck. Of course, after that, Never Wrong, Rising Storm, whatever. Unable to See is probably another great highlight from this album. Well, I don't think that I'll ever know what it's like to just let it go. And I don't think that'll to trust because I'm unable to see. I think back to the times that I've lost, but who am I to just want it all? Now, do you feel sorry for me if I'm unable to trust because I'm unable to see? Swear I'll never fall from here. Still we seen tonight, right? And forever and ever. Still we to see you smile when we are wronged by the ones that would never. Well, I don't think that I'll ever get to find a trace of what we have left, and I don't think that I'll ever learn to see the moments right, to just wait my turn. I've forgotten the fool that I was, but who am I to just think he's gone? Now don't you feel sorry for me. I'm unable to care because I'm unable to see. And of course, going back a little bit towards the kind of the chorus of it here and there. If you go through the verse, chorus, verse, it helps a little bit. And I swear I'll never fall from here. I'll never fall from here, and I'll be forever in a dream, and I know or let it go. I'll never let it go. It's kind of, I think that's like the bridge of the song before going back to the chorus. It's just still we sing to, which of course still we sing tonight, and I've already mentioned that. Skip, like go backwards on the play button or whatever. Rewind. And yeah. Alright, guys. Verdict. Well, guys, I had originally tried to do a review this morning on it, and, well, this is going to be odd, and if this does what it is doing for me for Brian Fallon's Painkillers, well, you know, this is not a bad album, Mark, and the rest of you guys, Wolfgang, again, great with bass. It's still, the background works well. I mean, they kind of found a way to, with the last album, Cauterize, they found a way to really just bring it out, bring it on, you know? Everything All I Was had been, Cauterize took it and did what needed to be done with it, whether it have been quality of production or just amp up and just amp themselves up a little bit more with their sound. Having Wolfgang as a bass player and his add extra well needed background vocals, or at least, of course, this album when recorded came straight off of after a Alter Bridge's Fortress, which Waters Rising, if for the Tremonti fans who liked what they heard here and went straight into Alter Bridge, straight into Fortress, that track is the track that really I think that gave us the nice foundation to what to expect from Cauterize, and just ran with that, and I'm not sure. I would say some of these tracks come off a little bit more Waters Rising, or at least where needed. Like Dust in a way, I guess, kind of has that vibe to it. But it still feels more like certain parts of it. I almost at first, when I first heard this, I was debating whether or not I wanted to put this above All I Was, which is, of the three, on the lowest of the totem pole. Cauterize was, of course, way up here. Dust, between Dust and Cauterize of the companion pieces, I don't know anymore. All I know is that I don't know if I can say that this album is better than Cauterize necessarily. But what I can say, it deserves somewhat to be one of the first, to be, of course, one of the few and far between. As you can hopefully see from here. Right there. Right there. That's right. It's on the fringe between being pretty well up there. I'll just give it a good solid thumbs up, man. It doesn't rock out nearly as hard as Cauterize kind of does. But it knows how it starts off great, and it actually ends solid enough to where I guess I could want to go back to it in the future. Maybe not as much as Cauterize, but good enough to still appreciate it. I'm gonna have to say, there's another album I would honestly some people may, when I get to that review for my Random Rock Countdown, you'll understand that between and the one I did earlier this past week or so. Yeah, I would prefer to listen to Deftones' new album more than I would this run. I'm sorry, Tremonti. And I would listen to another particular album that came out the week before that, for Deftones Gore, that I will get to when I get to my Random Rock Countdown. And if you want to know what that is, you'll have to find out then, guys. And hopefully you guys don't get fucking stingy on me like last fucking time. At least one person who I knew is and I'm guessing he'll be the only person that's going to be, putting his 2 cents in, since I know he's going to be a fan of this band as well. Hell, Deftones was a fan of this band. They liked the debut album so much during the Adrenaline days. Yeah. And I think any Deftones fans and any fans of that band I'm referring to know what I'm talking about. And no, it's not Hum. But they are a band that's definitely worth checking out in terms of just, for guitarists. Because there are some good guitar, just in-your-face kind of awesomeness. Green to Me. Everyone knows Stars, but Green to Me. Green to Me. You hear that opening. Just, anyway. Wow. Just check out that track Green to Me, and you'll understand. And that entire album that it's off of, which is Downward is Heavenward or whatever. Solid. Taking You'd Prefer an Astronaut and just taking it tenfold or twofold better. But anyway, guys, what did you think of Tremonti's dust? What did you think of it? Leave a comment below. Tell me if you liked it, you hated it, you thought it was meh, you thought, oh, this was better, you thought somehow this was better, which I almost did, so can't say I blame you. So, a lot of so's. A lot of so's in this video. Actually put that in the comments and see and put a count, or like if you want to use that as a drinking game. I don't know how many I've said, so drag it up. And yeah, and that's it. I will be doing my Keanu review shortly after I'm done with this. And eventually, sometime later down the road, I will be talking about this week, Captain America Civil War. It's going to be great. Eventually, I'm going to get to the next Random Rock Countdown. I want to do something special, and specifically, I want to master a solo at a certain particular point in it. But you know what? If it sucks, then I apologize, but the riffs aren't going to suck as bad as the last Random Rock Countdown I tried to do that with. Which I should not have, because that was some easy fucking shit. And I'm sorry, because usually I go for that. Alright guys, if you like this video, rock that like button with thrust if you must. And as always, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. And I'll see you guys next time. If you smell what Random Rock and Reel Riffs and Reviews is cooking.